You don't know what you don't know. We've all heard this phrase somewhere in our life. And it's a really interesting phrase because a lot of people stop learning once they get out of school or once they're done with college. If you want to be a true master in the modern age, you need to be versed on a wide range of topics if you really want to be a true master. It doesn't mean that you have to learn every single thing in the world. That's completely impossible. But you can at least dive deeper into knowledge in general. But once you get out of school and college and you really dive deep, you realize that you can go so far down the rabbit hole that you can get lost in it. So this is why learning is so important even after school. Because most of the learning that you do in school is just bullshit. It's just stuff, just general basic knowledge that you're really not even interested in just to get by in life. Just literally the bare minimum. School is the bare minimum. The internet is a good and bad thing, but one way you can look at it is that it's a collection of all human knowledge and it's free. So imagine someone like Leonardo da Vinci had access to the internet. What would he do with it? What would he learn? In his time, what would someone like Benjamin Franklin do if they had access to the internet? These guys would be using it to its full advantage. And these guys were already geniuses, but they were limited by the amount of knowledge that they could compile into their mind throughout their life. Now, you have this system, this gigantic library of knowledge that you can use to your advantage. You can learn any skill you want online nowadays. Honestly, I think college is going to be a thing of the past because a lot of people are just teaching themselves using their computer and applying these skills in person. If you can teach yourself, that's wonderful. You no longer need a college education nowadays. Choose a subject and stick with it, something that interests you, and dive deep into it. So, there's unknown unknowns in the world. Every time that I thought that I started to figure things out, life hit me with a wall and essentially just humbled me into realizing that I actually really don't even know that much. I still have a lot of learning to do. Even when you extensively learn a subject, you start to realize how little that you know about that subject. The farther deeper in you go, it becomes more complicated. It's like a skill tree in a video game, right? So let's say you choose farming, the farming skill tree. And farming starts off as simple as planting plants, watering them. Simple enough. You plant seeds, you water them, you give them sunlight, and then you watch the plants grow. You tend to the plants, and then so you grew some fruit. You planted some plants and you grew some fruit, and you said, damn, okay, I just realized how I can grow plants. But when you start scaling it up, when you start getting into other plants, the further and deeper you go into it, different ways to make it more efficient, suddenly it becomes a lot more complicated than you think. And you realize, damn, I don't know shit about farming. I'm just some amateur that planted some plants and grew some fruit. Yeah, I got the desired result, but it's so inefficient that it wasn't even worth it. I have to make it more efficient. How do you make it more efficient? Okay, I need better soil. I need to use fertilizers. I have to use pesticides, right? Oh, what's the best kind of pesticide? Do I use this pesticide or that pesticide? And then suddenly, all of a sudden, you went from a farmer to a scientist. Oh, now you need a tractor to till the fields. Oh, something on the tractor broke. The fuel line blew open or it rusted out. Now you got to learn how to replace a fuel line. So before you know it, you started off as a farmer. Now you're almost getting into science, learning about chemicals. And then now you're doing mechanical work. And so you're getting into these other topics that are not even related or somewhat related to the first thing that you got into. And that's why you need a wide breadth of knowledge. So you must gain general knowledge in all things to become a true master, I believe. Me, I'm not a master. I am on my way to getting there. I know it's going to take an entire lifetime. I'll give you some examples. So I've been learning how to be a mechanic. I've been on a mechanical journey for a long time. That led to a whole rabbit hole. I started fixing cars, then I started fixing other people's cars, and then my cars. And then I started learning how to fix jet engines. Had a small career doing that. And now I'm at the point where now I'm learning electronics to help fix these cars, rebuilding engines. This isn't my job. It's just one of the things that I was naturally drawn towards. And still to this day, I'm a mechanic. On my own time, I have my own projects, my own vehicles, my own things that I tinker with. But the mechanic thing has led to learning fuel systems, transmissions, combustion, how different metals, how metal rusts, corrodes, preventative maintenance, just the science behind like why does a motor run. You can start fixing things on a car and follow a tutorial and just do the steps and basically just put it together and not really know how it exactly works. You're just following someone else's instructions. But the farther you get into it, when there's an issue that you need to fix, you need to see how these parts move together. You need to see how this spring does this little thing that opens this channel that allows this liquid to go in. You know where I'm going, right? It gets more and more complex the farther you go in. There's complexities on complexities. And that's why I say that there's unknown unknowns, no matter what subject you get into. If you want to go far down the rabbit hole, I guarantee you there is a reward once you start going deeper down, but you have to dig deeper. You have to dig deeper in every single subject that you set yourself on if you want to become a true master. So my mastery currently right now, I'm learning how to make money online as an entrepreneur. I've already been an entrepreneur now for a few years. I have a service business. I have a local service business. That was a whole rabbit hole in itself. Basically, I have a detailing company. I also do preventative maintenance. I remove corrosion from vehicles that have rust. I apply chemicals that stop the spread of rust on vehicles, and people pay good money for that. Now, this rabbit hole has led to learning about these chemicals, what's the best chemical, what's the best way to apply them, the best equipment, the best machinery, the pricing, right? I have to figure out the pricing, marketing. If I want to do this stuff, I had to learn marketing, right? And this stuff led to the making money online, right? So this is I was learning about ClickFunnels, right? How to make a ClickFunnel, how to build a course, for example. And there's so much that goes into it that you don't even know about. And today I was learning about building a following and marketing it to your following. This is something I already kind of knew about, of course, but just, ads. Ads has also been something I've been learning about. I learned Facebook ads a few years ago, and I'm still becoming an expert in Facebook ads. Every single day, I work on Facebook ads as well. And I've been learning a lot more recently. I thought I had Facebook ads figured out recently. So I'll give you an example. I basically made a system where I was able to get a lot of leads from my Facebook ads, and I became kind of stuck in that mentality. I thought I had cracked the code. Well, I was having mixed results recently, and I kind of dug deeper. I started learning more about ads. I said, you know what? Let me actually learn more. Let me get a second opinions. I dug deeper. I went farther down the hole. Hours of research, hours of videos, listening to podcasts, looking at other people's examples. I found a new method where my ads are actually performing much better than before. And it was something so simple that I didn't know that I could do, but it was an unknown unknown. What you don't know, you don't know. And when you know it, you have it in your mind, locked in. But you have to dig to find those gems. It's like mining. It's like in Minecraft, right? You got to mine for diamonds. You don't know. Yeah, you could be digging through the cobblestone, and you're just getting skunked. You're not finding anything. You're like, bro, I ain't getting shit. Until eventually you hit diamonds, right? And that's where there's some payoff. That's where you get paid off. You just can't give up. You got to keep mining. So the internet age is here, guys. All information is here at your fingertips. There's no excuses. I'm still learning every day. Every single day I have a learning routine. I'm constantly listening to podcasts, audiobooks about what I'm interested in. Every time something breaks, I try to fix it myself and I try to learn. Don't call someone else. Try to do it yourself first. Obviously consult someone else, do your research, but next time something breaks, next time there's a project, save some money and do it on your own, okay? Just take care of it on your own, learn it, lock in that skill, do your passions, face your fears, and become an expert and become a master. Benjamin Franklin, he was one of these guys. He created he didn't create the printing press, but he was one of the first people in the US that started printing newspapers and learning how a printing press works. He was one of an early scientist as far as like studying how like electricity worked. You know, he's famous for the kite experiments, catching lightning in a bottle. You know, Benjamin Franklin had created some of the first lightning rods. He was also a financial guru in his time. There's a book by Benjamin Franklin called Poor Richard's Almanac. And it's a really excellent short book on basic finance principles, just common sense. A lot of great advice in Poor Richard's Almanac. I recommend y'all read it or listen to it. You can listen to it in like less than an hour, from what I remember. So yeah, poor Benjamin Franklin was a polymath, right? We know him as one of the founding fathers, but if you dig deeper into his life, you'll realize this guy was a hustler. He was a socialite. He was a scientist. He was a economist. He was an entrepreneur. This guy had several different disciplines he was studying. And he would mesh these disciplines together. And that's what's crazy. When you learn a discipline or a school of thought is basically a subject that you can study. So you want to learn languages, for example. You want to learn a language and you want to learn engineering, right? Two separate things. So you learn engineering and you learn Chinese. Okay, where am I going with this, right? If you are an engineer and you learn Chinese, guess what happens when you mix that? You know Chinese and you can work with Chinese people and you're an engineer. Companies all over the world would need your services, your consulting, your translation. I can just throw these up all day. You can combine disciplines all day and find your niche. It's a niche. For example, my marketing expertise with Facebook ads. I learned Facebook ads and I started studying Facebook ads for years. And I also learned this rust prevention from being a mechanic, right? Seeing rusty vehicles rust out. So my experience with mechanics and vehicles in general and preventative maintenance and my experience with advertising, I mix those together and voila, I created a successful business. It's making me a lot of money. Recently, I learned Spanish. Aprendí español hace 2 años, estudiando diario. Y ahora puedo usar mi español por algo de negocios, algo mundial. Si quiero un negocio donde puedo mezclar un negocio con estadounidenses y México, puedo usar esa habilidad por nuevo, empresa, algo así. What I'm saying is I can use Spanish in the future in my business pursuits. I can make deals. There's opportunities. I actually want to start a business in Mexico one day and move to Mexico. And just me being American and knowing English and having business ties here and being able to live in Mexico and work in Mexico, I already know I can make something out of that. Just as like a broker of deals. Get what I'm saying? Learn skills, learn 2 or 3 skills and get really good at them. Have general knowledge on everything. History, math, science, finance, marketing. Learn everything. Learn everything. Your 20-year education is here. If you want to become a master, you have to learn general knowledge of everything. Interpersonal relationships, I could go on. So, fellas, learn every day. Just because you're out of school doesn't mean you're done learning. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is strength. Don't ever give up on your dreams. This is Dark Warrior. Peace.